The UT Board of Trustees met for the final time Friday before a new, smaller board takes over in July. The new board will be faced with picking a new chancellor for UT Knoxville, as well as a new president for the UT system. 10 News reporter Mark Salinger tells us what the board discussed at their final meeting. Mark.
Robin, UT System President Joe DiPietro said today the search for his replacement as well as the search for a new chancellor here in Knoxville have not yet started. They're waiting for the new Board of Trustees to meet before they begin the process.
As their term comes to an end, the final meeting of the UT Board of Trustees proved a chance to reflect on how far UT System President Joe DiPietro says the university has come over the past couple years.
Fundraising's through the roof, the research program is flourishing, the relationship with the lab's never been stronger.
And the fundraising was on full display today. The meeting was highlighted by the naming of the Herbert College of Agriculture, thanks to what the university calls a transformational gift from UT alums Jim and Judy Herbert.
It's nice to be in a position to be able to give back some to what we received a long time ago.
This was Raja Jubran's final meeting serving as vice chair of the Board of Trustees. In his tenure, he's pushed to elevate the Board of Trustees beyond just a ceremonial position. As he exits, he leaves advice for the incoming board.
Please continue to ask the tough questions, demand transparency, and insist on knowing the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Jubran pushed to keep tuition increases low. This year, the board approved a 0% increase. He also pushed for accountability for faculty, including those who have tenure.
I assure you that at UT we are fortunate to have many committed and very productive, results-oriented faculty members that deserve to be rewarded and paid market salaries. At the same time, some are not as productive or committed and are in need of improvement or termination.
And the first board meeting with that new board will take place on August 1st. Robin?
Mark, thanks for bringing that to us.